Hello, I'm Dan Alford, and you're listening to Dan's Cadre of Experts. I've got two guests today. They're both working in a field with a mission that I approve of. We've got Brian Cook and Adam Burris. Welcome to the show today.
Thanks for having us.
So I'm a big proponent of skills, trades, and made in America, and that's why I have you guys on today. So you started up a nonprofit that's doing exactly that. Tell me something about NextGen.
So NextGen is Adam and I started it back in 2019 with the idea to work inside the high schools to teach those students, usually juniors and seniors, about oil and gas and renewable industry trades jobs. So whenever we started the business, we were thinking electricians, welders, fitters, HVAC, things like that. But as we have dug into this and been doing this, and we're seeing 2,000 to 3,000 students a semester, well, we're starting to see more of drafting, logistics, purchasing,
Interesting.
project management, project controls, things like that do not require a four-year degree anymore. So trades are not just, in our minds, not just guys or people in the field. It's your back office support on projects or back office support in manufacturing facilities and things like that. CNC machinists, things like that.
Interesting. Yeah. Well, my first degree was an associate's degree in technology from TSTC in Waco.
Yes, sir.
And I tell you, I learned so much in that 2 years, and much of this business here is based upon that. Arc Specialties, I started with a TIG welder in my garage back in 1983, and if I didn't have those hands-on TIG skills, it would have ended in 1983. But it's those actual hands-on skills that make our machines run. So that's why I support you guys. So is this what you've done all your life, or is this something new for you?
Well, it's something new for us. I mean, we
can't make money with a nonprofit.
Exactly. We're and that's one of the big things about us is we're 100% give back. We don't take salaries off of the nonprofit. It's full volunteer. Everybody who's associated with the organization is volunteer. Basically, in a nutshell, I mean, Brian came to me in 2019 with the idea and was, hey, you want to help me get this up and running? And we went through the process with the IRS and everybody else, became an official nonprofit, and just started breaking into schools. The first school we got into was Cyfair.
Yeah, I don't know if we want to use the word breaking into schools.
Okay. Yeah. First school that invited us in, I guess I should say, was Cyfair.
Yeah. Cyfair, the welding academy, like their Brodigan Center actually let us in, and we saw, 50 or 80 kids that day. And it's funny, when we started our information, we were showing these kids, there's just a ton of data, and you could just see them like falling asleep. So we just had to talk to them like we were talking to ourselves back in high school. And we do tell our stories. Like Adam came from an entrepreneur family. I started my first business when I was 24, and that's all I ever known. There's no way I could have a corporate job. I'd definitely get fired. But it's, I've started and grown and sold businesses since I was in my 20s. So this is not what we would do full time, but it is full time work. Yeah. So we have we've had a pretty amazing team over the last few years that have really helped us grow this thing too. And we have great sponsors and guys like you that help us out. But yeah, I mean, it's been a lot of fun. So, but the whole idea is just to get in front of these kids and they don't want to see data. They just want to hear our stories, like your story and my story, and how do we get
and salaries?
Yeah, they want to hear money. They want to hear about the money, but and the cool stuff. And then we tell stupid stories on how we just got to be financially responsible when you do start making that money. So we do.
Right.
We do try to help
what not
them.
to do.
Yeah. Usually I'm the example on that one. So it's
Got to have negative role models in your life.
Exactly.
Positive.
Yeah, Adam's usually the straight line guy. I'm the kind of wild card, but it's we went from these small little classrooms, there'd be like 20 kids in a class, to Tomball High School. We were in front of probably 60 kids at a time, and we'd see most of the senior class. Huffman High School, we saw some pretty sizable classes.
Right.
And some cool things that we're doing, like we did with you.
Talk about the nuts and bolts, because I think you call it Day in the Life.
Day in the Life.
You brought a whole bunch of kids here, and what they got a taste of was what's it like to build robots, which means machining, electrical, welding, assembly, mechanics, programmers, all the above. And we seem to perk a few of them up.
Yeah. So we did that here. We did one at Transocean. We had 15 students. Let's say, example, Transocean, we took 15 kids. They
You
wound
took
up.
them in the simulator?
Yes, sir.
Excellent.
Yes, sir. So we had.
So you got to tell the audience what that is.
Oh, it's a drilling simulator. So you're in there tripping pipe, and it's almost like you're running a rig.
A drill ship.
Yeah, drill ship. When you're sitting in an office there in the energy corridor of Houston. So it's, I mean, the screens look like it's almost like you're in real life, which was awesome. We got the driller chairs there, and you're just running pipe, and it's awesome. I mean, and these kids, it's just to see their faces is so exciting. They get to see it and touch it and get to experience what this is all about. Like, we can tell them all day, but like bringing them here, they get to see what the back office workings are of this business. And two, while we're showing y'all are showing around and we leave and I'm talking to him about, like, okay, this guy started this business, he's an entrepreneur and he owns this company, so I do want to try to promote these young people becoming an entrepreneur and not just settle into being a worker bee. If you have that in your spirit, go, and that's your passion, go chase it.
My dad inspired me, and here I am.
Yeah, and sometimes you fail, sometimes you win. So I mean, that's another one we try. Like, all the stuff we try to teach on our mentor program, which is what we have. I'm going on a tangent. So if we go back to the day in the life, so we'll work with a sponsor like you guys. We'll try to bring 10 to 20 students to a location and have them work with like your team or like at the Transocean team. There's a couple other Noble Drilling wants to work with us this month, and we take them and they get to see what it is to work here, so they can have a vision of what it's like. They get to meet people that's in that industry that we're talking to them about. McCarthy Construction, we're talking to about going on their job site to see what it's like to be a civil engineer or do concrete or whatever it is to do water and wastewater treatment facilities like they do. So it's just giving these people these young people a vision so they can see it, and it's I think it's invaluable. We couldn't put a price on that.
Well, when I was a kid, my dad was an English professor at UT Austin. My mom was a zoologist studying radiation mutation, and so I looked up and I go, well, which one am I? Which one of those two? And at the same time, I was building jet engines and steam engines and motorcycles, and nobody said, kid, you're an engineer, because I didn't know that. I looked up to mom and dad and figured I had to be one of the two. And I didn't like English, so that meant I was a zoologist. And so I wasted a year. I didn't waste, but I spent a year in UT Austin taking biology because no one took me to a factory and showed me all the cool, fun stuff. So that's why I think you guys are doing great things.
Yeah, a lot of these students, I like questioning them. So we'll be in a room and it's like, oh, who wants to go to college? And all these kids are raising their hands. I'm like, what are you going to study? Well, I want to study business. Business
What's
what?
that?
Business what? Get a degree and then go work at Starbucks? I'm not hating on working at Starbucks, but like, do you have to spend $150,000 on a degree to go do that? So it's just a shame that they're going to a ton of them. We hear it all the time. We're going to go to college and figure it out. I'm like, that's the worst investment you could possibly do.
Yeah, you need a plan.
Like, so we do give them a 1 year and a 5 year plan. So they put that in your 1 year plan. Does that make sense? So I like to challenge them. We do like to challenge them on, okay, so you're going to go to A&M, whatever. Okay, build a plan. Like, what do you want to do when you get out of college? So what does that look like when you do go to college? Like, have a plan when you go there. Like, you're just going to sit here and just burn cash on trying to figure it out?
Come out with a $250,000 debt.
Yeah, so you already started, and this where I try to challenge them too, is like, guys, you're starting you're already starting behind the 8 ball whenever you get out of college in debt. And then you're going to try to figure it out once you get out and go get some job that you probably don't like. And it's just a hard road. And it's like, come on, guys, I'll try to put a plan together. And I always use the example of, you don't just get home and your parents are just like one day on a whim, like, hey, we're going to go move and we're going to buy a new house in Houston, and just like throw a dart in the wall and be like, well, we're going to move on this side of town, like no rhyme or reason. That's almost like going to college and trying to figure it out. You're just wasting a bunch of money just bumbling around.
I mentor high school robot teams for U.S. First Robotics. We had an inner city group of kids, and we kicked butt. We beat NASA, the NASA team. We beat the Booker T team. That's the engineering magnet team. This is way back in around 2000. And the kids did great things. It was amazing. And I asked them what they wanted to be, and universally they would say either businessman or athlete. They literally did not, until we started building robots, didn't consider all these other options. But then they did exceedingly well at it, and so that's how I approach it. But I can only touch so many kids that way. I like what you're doing, and I like the way you're raising money too. I've been to one of your parties.
That's a good party. We've been doing that party for a real long time. Like, this is our 15th year. I started hosting this party when I owned a business to entertain clients, and then when we started doing NextGen, we just made it the NextGen party, and I think we had 1,500 to 1,800 people there last year.
What's the cost?
The ticket at the door is $400 a ticket.
Right. Who's invited?
Oil and gas operations management, and renewable energy project management operations. It's all management operations, senior execs, business owners. We try not to have a bunch of just like rando salespeople running around bugging.
Thank you.
Bugging guys like you guys trying to. We just it's not worked out in the past when we did do that.
Right.
So we get super picky on who we invite, because we have sponsors that spend money. Like, we haven't sent it to you yet, but we will ask for you for money. But we ask people to spend money on helping us sponsor this thing, and we don't want. You're going to invite your clients, right? And some of your clients are guys that are sponsoring us as well. So we don't want you or like a senior exec for one of these drilling contractors, or a Chevron, a Shell, an Exxon, and they're trying to pitch them a widget or a gadget, or trying to pitch them nothing. We just want everybody to go
I didn't
there.
see any of that going on.
No, yeah,
We
we'll walk
police
them
it.
out the door.
We police it very well.
Yeah. We want people to go and have a good time, and
Be able to relax.
we can mingle as brothers and sisters in our industry, and just that's it, and not try to somebody's not trying to pitch you something. It's a time just to congregate and get together. And
You're raffling off New Republic boots and raffling off guns. I want a Glock 19.
yeah. So we work with a small little gun shop. Strack is the name of the company, and they build custom guns for us that we raffle off. And I think last year we did 15 or 20 guns.
Couple pairs of boots.
Couple pairs of boots,
a
custom
suit.
jackets, some purses.
Yep.
We'll package like a Tiffany's blue Glock with a custom purse.
I didn't win that one.
No. Yeah.
Thank goodness.
No, those stinking purses I didn't know those suckers were so expensive.
I didn't either.
Yep.
That's where I found out the owner of Republic Boot Company is another Oilfield guy, isn't he?
Oh,
Yeah.
Chris? Yeah. He's
Yeah,
a commissioning guy at Chevron.
That
He's
was
working out of Qatar right now. Republic Boot, they've really have went shoulder to shoulder with us. So we were there last week. Our kids that have reached their goals. We had 3 students that had just graduated trade school after 2 years on time, and they all got jobs in the oil and gas industry.
Excellent.
We had 2 other students that had graduated high school last year. We got them on, and they're working offshore. So what we told them was like, all right, the one that went offshore, it's like, you guys spend 6 months and don't quit. Show up on every hitch. Don't show up late. Get there. The other 3 kids, it's like, all right, y'all, you've graduated. Good job. You've gotten hired on. Moving forward, like, here's your reward from us. Republic stepped up shoulder to shoulder with us, and we got them all custom boots.
Excellent.
So just trying to reward them for reaching their goals.
So you actually funded their schooling?
Yes, sir.
And do y'all have, which schools do you pay? Explain this process.
So we work with Lone Star. They have some
Community
amazing,
college.
Yes, sir. Lone Star Community College. They have some great training, some great programs.
They got some 1-year trade programs, and they got 2-year associates programs too, don't they?
They also have some 6-month certificates as well. TSTC, we do work with them. That's
Good.
where the 3 students that just graduated from. Oh, it's a great college.
Oh, which location
The
you working with?
Richmond location.
Okay.
So those are the 2 main we work with. We're looking at Lamar Tech over in Orange,
I
Texas.
approve.
Great schools. So we're going to start working with companies in that region of like Beaumont, Orange, that Golden Triangle area. We had a power company in Alabama reached out to me. They want to start working with us. So we're supposed to go over there in the next few months. Surprise, I forgot to tell you about that.
Yay.
And then that Highway 90 run from Lafayette down to South Louisiana. Start working with students like Oklahoma, Lafayette, Morgan City, those areas is going to be our next push for this 2024, 2025, next 2 years. So this Gulf Coast region. And then Williams has reached out to us to start covering more Oklahoma, so on the facility side. So I think that there's a kind of where we really need to make a push is we could use some more mentors. So guys like yourself or ladies. We have a lot of young ladies. We have 3 new young ladies in our program. It'd be neat to get some more veteran females in our industry to start helping with us. And really, it's just like, hey, we give them one of their 5-year goals, just helping them track that. And a lot of parents aren't engaged with these students. I mean, another one we always ask is like, hey, what do your parents do? I mean, this is like, I'm telling you, like 3,000 to 4,000 students a semester. We're asking these questions all day long. And it's 90% don't have a clue what their parents do. So I would urge parents to start communicating with your kids on what do you do. And if you like your job, great. If you don't like your job, well, tell your kids about it. So maybe they don't want to go down that road.
Both these pieces of information are useful.
Yeah.
I work with some of the high schools, and it was interesting. I wanted to use the shop to build the robots, and they said, no, we don't want to stigmatize these kids into blue-collar labor. And I said, whoa, hang on, back up. I said, every engineer that works for me knows how to use hand tools, because when you're in Uzbekistan trying to make a robot run, you don't have a lot of support. You better know how to solder, drill, tap, wire, whatever. I said, this is not stigmatizing kids at all. What it is, it's a stepping stone. You get a skill, you're going to go make a good living. And if you want to go further, you can get an associate's degree and become a technician. And if you want to go further, just like me, I finished up with a bachelor's at UH. So that's the other reason I like your program, is because you have intermediate steps along the way to success, and there's no limitation.
No, not at all.
I would agree with you. We had one of our kids that's working offshore. He said his counselor, when he was leaving school, was trying to talk him out of doing it. The kid is, I mean, he's moved up 2 positions working offshore in 3 hitches.
That's pretty quick.
Yeah.
But when he got hired on, like the dedication we have to this guy, to this business is insane. So when these guys got hired, on the day that they were doing their interviews, we met them an hour early. We walked in the interview with them. We walked in the door, saw the HR managers, and then all the rig managers are standing there, and we walked past all the HR managers because we know all the rig managers. They're all at our parties. And so we're high-fiving everybody, and these kids, we're like heroes to these kids, which is kind of funny because we're not heroes.
We are not heroes.
And then we already know they're going to get hired on. But
They don't know it, though.
No, and then we're waiting for them, and they walk out the door. And then when they get hired on, we go walking down the hallway. We introduce them to all the rig managers and operations people, just to, hey guys, can y'all tell them your story, so that these kids can get in their heart, okay, cool, I'm starting right here, and where can I be in 10 years from now? So we try to like introduce them to the right people, so that 2 of these guys are looking out for them while they're working as well. It's a big one, and just trying to teach them how to properly network too, and get off your phone and looking down at your phone and TikToking or whatever social media you're dug into.
Look me in the eye.
Pick your head up, communicate, network. And so we do make students volunteer, or we ask them to volunteer in our mentor program. So part of our mentor program is setting your goals, showing up for volunteering for things. Like if you had an event and you said, hey, Brian, we want to make you all the charity. Cool. Well, we had one for a downhole tool association recently. We had 7 or 8 of our students show up and like for a sporting clays tournament.
Right.
Pulling clays, helping get tables out, helping clean
Set
up.
up, yeah.
And they met a bunch of people.
They met
They
a
met a
bunch of
ton of
people. They meet a ton of people.
Yeah, that's so what I was trying to tell them on this is, guys, like it does help us at the tournament, but it also helps you, showing you you're putting an effort in, because a lot of these guys like us see these kids out there trying, and that's the ones we want to try to bring under our wings and help. And I mean, some of these kids are skipping high school for the day to come all the way out there, which we try to get them out of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, a few of them like out of Huffman, Keller, and those kids. So I got a kid I'm mentoring right now, and that kid is jam. I mean, during the summer, I bought an investment property, and this kid's out here helping me move 4 tons of bull rock and like just getting after it. And he really impressed me. His work ethic is insane. Like he'd just be there early and work till dark every day, and then show up the next day and do it again. And it's fun to watch some young people just work hard and just want to be something. Right. It drives me to be just to try to help them. And we don't want anything like it's another one. We sit with parents, and they're like, "Well, what do you guys get out of this?" And we're like, "Nothing,
Nothing.
Nothing.
Like I'm giving like we've been really blessed on. We had people. I know I had people when I was young, speaking of my life and bring me under their wing and like chew me out when I was doing dumb stuff and finally kind of kept me in my little line. And then I became successful. And I just want to do the same for these kids too. And then too, I had one today that I had to tear into and it's not yelling at them, but it's just like, man, this is a life lesson right here, son. Like, this is what you need to learn from this. And then pointing out where his mistakes were, and you need to own that. And, okay, yeah, you can cry in your Cheerios today, but tomorrow you need to pick your head up and
Get to work.
learn from it and move forward.
Exactly.
Because it's sitting there sobbing about it ain't going to help nothing.
Well, I wholeheartedly approve of what you're doing. So if we've got anybody believing in what you're doing, how do they reach you guys? What's the next step? I'm talking about people that might be able to mentor, people that might be able to sponsor, and kids that might need a hand, or adults that need to direct a child.
NextGenTrades.org. NextGenTrades.org. Go on our website. Applications are on there for kids that want to apply. There's also, you can reach out to us through that website too, on our info at nextgentrades.org. It's info at nextgentrades.org.
Yes.
And that gets directly to us as well.
Did I miss it? What else do you guys need to make this thing work? What did I miss? Anything?
Sponsors on events. We're going to start doing annual funding this year because that helps. What we're looking at that is, so say you have an operator, a big company that wants to start a big project in East Texas. Well, they're going to build this plant in 2 years from now. Okay, well, why don't we start working on the schools? We start promoting your brand within these schools and the opportunities that will be there. So we start crafting these kids to go to Lamar Tech or Lamar or TSDC or whatever that's saying Jack, any of those schools. And they start going to those trades so that those kids can come out of that trade school and go work for this major operator. We just need companies to reach out to us and say, hey, we have this interest we're going to develop this new field or whatever we're going to do. And then we can start working with the schools to show these students the opportunities there. Because once again, we don't want them to float through like it. They don't know about the opportunities.
Right.
It's amazing how many classes and how many students we see that literally have no idea. I mean, because our generation, it was beat into us that, if you didn't go to college, then that was it. You weren't going to amount to anything. And so a lot of these kids are just lost. I mean, completely lost. And it's amazing to see, their ears perk up whenever you start telling them about all these different trades and opportunities, because it's stuff they don't even think about,
And money too.
Yeah.
Touches their ear when you talk about money. Yeah. And travel too. I mean, how many parts of the world have we got to see on going on a project?
Yeah, I've got robots in 33 countries now.
Yeah. But if you weren't doing this and you're if you're a zoologist and you're messing with some damn koala bear,
Staring at a microscope.
yeah, you're sitting in a lab somewhere, right?
No, that's fine too, but
there's nothing wrong with that.
I've loved my life. It's been so much fun.
Yeah, I mean, it's to get into travel and do what you do, and we've gotten to do this because we're in this industry. So we do try to show them. We show them in our presentation. We show a global map on like where's the hot spots that you'll typically see, where you're, from Australia to Singapore, all through India and South Africa and West Africa and Mediterranean, and all the Russian countries, all that. So, but anyways, we just try to show them like this is where you can see the planet. Like one of our kids left high school last year, went to go work offshore.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Name is Connor. So he went to go work in Las Palmas right out of high school. So he's working in Spain, which is a great place to work. And he's 18 years old, making good money, working in Las Palmas, and the kid's never even been out of Texas before. So it was just cool to get to experience that with him, and then talk to him when he's getting on the plane. I said, man, call me when, and this is our engagement with these kids. Like, call me when you get on the plane. Call me when you land in Las Palmas. Call me from the rig. And so it's almost like we've become family. So really, our process is not just like working with the high schools and mentoring these kids and then getting them jobs out of high school or out of trade school. These kids are becoming our part of our just our family, like our brotherhood of this industry. Because eventually they're going to be working in these girls and boys are going to be working our, they're 10 years from now, they'll be 30 something years old, and we'll be old. You'll be old and retired.
I'll be older.
I am old.
I'll be older.
I'm still the young one in the bunch.
Yes.
Well, you mentioned Transocean. I work with those guys a bunch too, and everybody you meet from Transocean, they started on a rig, without exception. Everybody that I've met, they're moved up through the food chain. So this is an industry where you can still make it, starting, with a skills job, move your way up. They seem to appreciate it.
Now, Transocean's an excellent business and one of our sponsors.
Right.
They've been really good to us, and doing the day in life with them has been fantastic. So it's
Yeah, I want to go play in that simulator.
that simulator's awesome.
It is.
Yeah. So Noble will be our one. I need to follow up with them, but we'll work with them over the next couple months and do the simulator over there too.
I just got a resume from a kid yesterday, and he was talking about he could weld, and he's looking for a welding job. But then I looked deeper on the resume. The kid's got some college behind him. So apparently college didn't work out for him. That's okay, He's still people too. But so I dug a little deeper, trying to figure out if he could be a robot material, robot programmer, because the best person to program a welding robot is a welder who's not afraid of computers. And sure enough, that's what this kid was. But he didn't have it in his resume. I had to dig it down, to figure this out. So I'm hoping you guys coach him a little bit on resumes, because this kid had the right resume, but I had to dig through it.
Yeah, so we do help with that's part of our process is we do help with resumes, because a lot of these kids, their resume is garbage, man. They just got out of school. Like, how did your resume look when you graduated high school?
Terrible.
Nonsense.
Yeah.
Anyways, it's yeah. So we just try to make it look somewhat professional. I mean, hell, I've seen grown people have horrible resumes too, so it looks like it didn't matter. Anyways, it's going on a tangent with that. But
So do y'all have fixed scholarship numbers, or I'm still not clear on how it's working with the kids?
no, we were some. It just depends on the kid. If we try to communicate with them and their families, so. A simple process is we meet them in school. They're typical junior and senior year. Once we start picking kids that we're going to scholarship, we sit down with them and their families. During our fundraisers, so we have a clay tournament next month. We have our big fundraiser that you've been to.
Who's invited to the clay tournament?
Everybody wants to sponsor.
Okay, that's on the website.
It's on the website. I'll have the flyers out this
Good.
week. That's at Providence Plantation. We did one back in August, and it was like 140,000 degrees outside. So.
Yes, it
We
was.
should have thrown a pool party.
Yes, we should have.
But this one's in February. So, anyways,
I'm in.
yeah. So, really, so the process is we'll go to the schools, and we'll go to majority of the schools around this Texas area, meet the students, and there's hundreds of students that apply for our program. We start meeting with families, them and their families, to see, okay, what direction do they want to take? What are they really passionate about? Because we do push passion. And then we'll talk to our sponsors and say, okay, sponsors, we have 30 kids that want to be welders and 20 that want to be electricians and this want to be HSE. And so we just kind of go down the list on what these kids want to do. And then we try to pull day in the life so we can kind of hone it in. Once we have it figured out on, okay, well, 40 of these kids want to go work offshore. We're going to take 10 or 15 at a time and take them to Transocean or take them to Noble or wherever. So we can kind of tighten that down too. So we're not just wasting your time and our sponsors' time. So we're trying to get the right kids in front of the right people. So when we start picking scholarships, we really communicate with the families, because some of the families have some of the funds, or we can work with a Lone Star College or TSTC to help pick up the other side of the flat.
Okay, so you do what is needed on a
Yes.
case by case.
For example, one of the kids that we have on our scholarship right now, he took it upon himself and he got grants.
Oh, this kid
And he had his entire schooling paid for, but he didn't have the money for the tools. So we picked up his tools.
Actually, we had a really nice guy help us with Lincoln.
Yes.
This guy right here.
Yes.
Lincoln.
Yeah, that was Brian O'Neill helped you guys out.
Brian O'Neill was awesome. They gave us almost 30 packs,
Yes.
like a backpack with a hood, gloves, jackets,
Oh, yeah.
all gear.
The full setup.
All you got to do is ask.
Yeah. So, those kids, we have kids all over Texas right now in high schools using Lincoln gear. and we're posting those pictures all the time.
Oh yeah, they're getting what they want out of it. So.
Yeah,
Yeah, they are.
So future customers. But no, so we do communicate with the families, and that student that Adam's talking about, that kid, he's incredible. Like watching that kid, I mean, he's done to see a high school kid go out and get their own grant money and do all their own stuff, and do all their own legwork to get their own money to go to school. I'll help that kid all day long.
Yeah. I never would have considered it, when I was, but school was cheaper back in the 70s when I was playing this game.
Yeah. Adam went to school in the 60s.
Yeah, exactly.
But I mean the process. So we meet them in high school, meet the families, figure out where they're going to go, and really work with the sponsors on what are they looking for. But yeah, I mean where we need help is sponsors, people that want us, or companies that want to do day in the life, mentors. People want to be mentors. You probably have a somewhat clean background because you are working with high school students.
Yes.
I've been through the Veritas stuff.
Yes. And then two, having some of our sponsors come with us to the schools whenever we speak to some of the students.
I'm in.
Yeah, because they want to hear we're just telling our stories.
I've had a great life. I envy no one. So yeah, I go up to A&M and do that same thing. Just because I remember when I was in school, some mentors would tell me cool stories about the cool things they did, and I remember them, 50 years later. So, so if that would help, give me a shout.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't remember. They couldn't remember the data we show them by the end of the day. But we tell them cool stories about oil and gas and travel and some of the crazy stories that Adam has. I'm pretty boring, but
You're very boring. Yes. Yeah.
but yeah. So when we start talking about we do. One of the things we do push is not just talking about it. Go do something.
Yeah.
Like when we started our own cigar company this summer. Like people sit around and talk about, I'm gonna do my own business. I'm gonna do that.
Woulda, coulda, shoulda. That's the
Yeah,
Exactly.
I mean, I always tell them, like, opportunity in life, I think just the universe is floating around. It's going to land on the right person if you're ready for it and to take it and run with it. And then you always have those people, it's like, man, I had that idea one day 30 years ago.
everything you don't do fails.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure I designed
like
a
that.
minivan when I was in elementary school, and then I threw it in the trash. I wasn't ready.
You designed a what?
Minivans.
Oh yeah.
It's pretty funny, but yeah, it's a pretty simple process. Like let's train these young people to see what our industry looks like, and then get them in there.
Well, the good news for you guys and me is, they're trying to reshore industry. I'm all in, and unfortunately for us, Europe, they have pretty good apprenticeship programs. We don't have that. So
We don't.
and we've, I work with the high schools, and I see many of them have destroyed their shop classes. See, that was big to me. I wasn't trying to start a career. I just wanted to build stuff in high school, and so shop class was an opportunity for that, and I was inadvertently learning a lot of useful stuff at the time. So we've got to do something to fill all these slots if we're going to rebuild our industry, rebuild our factories in America.
Yeah. It's we do see a lot of schools, and their shops are not what we had when we were growing up.
Nope.
I don't know if it's from liability. I don't know what it's from, but they don't seem to have what we had when we were young. I mean, some of the
There are
schools,
exceptions. I work with some kids down in Bruni. Amazing shop, amazing teachers. So
with
they're still out there.
Tomball Memorial has great great welding programs.
Huffman.
has a great program.
Fair.
Cypher has a broadgun center.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, there's some of these schools do have some good programs, and then another one is I was Audubon Engineering. I was in their office yesterday, and the lady at the front desk is like, hey, "My daughter wants to be a welder." I was like, "Well, so what does she do?" I was like, "How old is she?" She's 14. I was like, "She just needs to go to school and ask and be in the welding program." And she's down in Clear Lake. So I was like, "But y'all got to ask, right? You can't just assume like." I want to be a welder, an electrician, or whatever you want to be, and your kids just show up to school, and like the school knows what your kid wants to be. Like we can't read your mind. You got to communicate this and ask and like dig in. So that's just something we just try to encourage parents to talk to your kids, like get them to go to school and like figure it out.
Get them to do some welding and some computer work too, and then I'll hire them.
All right.
And then they'll be building submarines and jack-up rigs and
Yeah.
all sorts of cool stuff.
Yeah. It's Yeah. Yeah.
What else did y'all want to hit on today?
What you got?
Well, you've pretty much covered everything. But no, our application process is, we've made it very simple, like he was saying. It's all through the website. Application for scholarship, or if you want to be a mentor, or if you want to donate.
What's the success rate for applicants? How hard is this to get in with you guys?
We always. I mean, we got a pretty good. It's pretty easy.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, out of every 100, how many end up getting help?
It just depends on how much money we raise. Like,
Well,
so,
it's how much money we raise, and then, I mean, while we say it's simple, we set goals for each of the candidates to do, and they've got to do their homework. They've got to chase us. We're not going to chase them. So they have to show us that they want it, because this is a nonprofit. We don't make anything. This is our time that we're just giving. So we've got to see that they want it and they're going to finish. And so, because we don't want to invest in them if they're not.
I'd say for last year, 30%.
There you go.
That we reached out to, and when we had my daughter working for us, going on the list of calling the students and like, hey, we want to do interviews for scholarships. I don't know if these kids get a lot of telemarketer calls or something, but they were like, a couple of them yelled at her and cussed at her, and yeah, I was like, we're trying to give you guys money.
Exactly.
So we went and we weeded down from 100 and so down to 80, and we might have worked with about 20,
Right.
just because you couldn't get them to call you back.
Yeah.
These kids,
So out of the ones that wanted it, there's a pretty good success rate.
Yeah.
Lord, they don't know how to answer a phone. You got to text them. So that was another lesson we've learned with doing this. It's like, okay, y'all give us your emails. We're asking a 16, 17, 18-year-old kid to answer an email. I didn't know what the hell an email was when I was that age. So now we just work on text messages and then phone call. And I pick up the phone and call them.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I would say last year was 30%. We did some lessons learned from last year. So we're going to start trying to pick kids more around February, March. So end of next month in March, we'll start picking scholarships by then. Because if you look at like Lone Star, so some of their scholarship funds end 1st of April or end of somewhere in end of February. Anyways, so we're trying to work shoulder to shoulder with like a Lone Star College. I'm like, okay, guys, y'all go try to get as much scholarship money as you can by the X date, and then we'll try to fill the gap and see how we can support. And then some of the programs like Lone Star has cybersecurity right now. They're giving kids 100% scholarships just to get in that and go do cybersecurity.
The need's that great.
The need is that great. So these oddball kind of jobs, but you mentioned cybersecurity to these kids in school, and they're like, "What the hell is that?" And they don't know what it is.
Well, I can tell you that I'm a member of a bunch of professional societies here in Houston, and a lot of our scholarships go begging. So I'm gonna hook you up with some of those. So our success rate is we can't even give away the money.
Yeah.
So it sounds like you guys are already hooked up with the kids. So we need to collaborate and cooperate.
So we do see that with other businesses too, and it's because a lot of companies are trying to catch kids once they graduate, and that was our lesson learned. Was we were trying to communicate with them at the beginning of the summer. Like towards the end of the year, we get into May and we're still trying to call them, and nobody's calling us back. And then you're in the summertime and they've already graduated, and they're so long gone. And once you get a hold of them, they're calling you back half asleep at 1 o'clock in the afternoon or 2 o'clock in the afternoon, like to do an interview. And you can hear them yawning and rolling around in bed, and it's like,
This doesn't go well.
I've hung up on a few of them and they'll call me back, and I'm just like, man, you need to take this serious because y'all have
future.
Yeah, and I don't like it. Like, guys, y'all know that we're doing. I mean, most of these kids, 99% of these kids have met us. They know that Adam has his own business. I have my own business, and I run 2 of the global sales teams, and we have our own cigar company.
Yes.
But they know we're busy. So if I didn't have ADD, I probably couldn't do this. Anyways, it's
Like we talked about earlier, ADD is a virtue.
I think it's a blessing. I hate that they give us that stigma that.
Yeah, don't let them pick on you.
Yeah.
I know I've been picked on my whole life.
You have. You have.
I'm
But
afraid.
no, we try to get in and plant the seed as early as October.
Well, I like you guys talking about force them into a plan.
Yeah.
Make them think more than next week because, kids are short-sighted.
Yeah.
So I like that a lot. But if they had deadlines for when to apply for scholarships, and
Yeah. And if they don't do it, then I don't know what to tell y'all.
well, you can't save them all.
No, can't save them all. And then once they start working, the handful that we just had start working, we do once again. Okay, we're going to set a new 1 year plan, a new 5 year plan, and your 1 year plan is when you start making money. Please, dear Lord, don't go buy a brand new $80,000 truck
And put rims on it and a
jet ski.
stereo and multiple side by sides.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I've been that guy.
Have you?
Yeah.
I've heard stories.
But it's so we just try to. I'm not trying to manage their money, but trying to be financially responsible. They can learn how to save. A lot of these, like the Transocean guys, they're 19 years old and they got a 401k and they're matching.
All right, that's what we do.
Yeah. So it's awesome to see, okay, guys, learn how to save. And then two, these kids are used to learning how to live on $18,000 a year, $20,000 a year. Okay, bump it up a little bit, and then all that extra money, stash all that.
Yeah, don't lose your cheap lifestyle.
So invest in property, invest in something, whatever. And there's a couple of kids in our mentor program I would like to eventually, if we're doing an investment on something like property or whatever, and bring them in under our wing. So like they're just behind us, right? So I don't know, just trying to help these kids like learn how to. Just trying to help them.
So many people helped me when I went into business. They gave me advice, they gave me tools, they gave me, and so yeah, and I know exactly what you guys are doing. You're giving back, so good for you. I applaud. So, all right. So one more time, how do they find you again?
NextGenTrades.org, or they can email us at info@nextgentrades.org.
No texting.
You can text me. Give me my phone number. But or you can find us. It's Brian Cook on LinkedIn or through our social media platforms, Instagram, Facebook, all that. Hit us up. We get a lot of people that reach out to us through Instagram and Facebook, and they'll ask us stuff, and I'll always respond. But then it just goes into dead air. So like once again, like people want to help until you're like, okay, cool, this is how you
Step
can help.
up.
Yeah.
And that was one of the premises behind us starting the business is like everybody runs their mouth about these young people today. Okay, then let's do something about it.
Do something tangible.
Yeah.
You guys are doing it.
Yes, sir.
Anything else, guys?
No, sir.
No, sir.
All right. It sounds like we need to get you guys back next year. Get a report. Sounds like this whole process is evolving for you.
Yeah, it's getting big.
Every day.
Excellent. Well, keep up the good work. Thanks for coming on the show, and I will see you guys soon.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.